What is this place? It's so rural, it's not even funny. Too rural? I don't think it's that bad. I was born and raised in New York, you know? And you're taking me to this remote place? Calling it remote is definitely an exaggeration. I married you because I thought you were on a fast track to success. I don't know what you did wrong, but getting demoted to such a rural area. It's not a demotion. I've been entrusted with an important role in the company's expansion. No excuses. I don't need a husband who's been banished to the sticks. I want a divorce. 3 years later. Daniel? Huh? Standing there was my ex-wife, Brenda. And next to her, it was Brenda's affair partner, whom I had only seen in photos and videos. My name is Daniel. Right after I started working, I dated a woman. Her name was Brenda. She was a lively woman who spoke her mind clearly. She seemed straightforward and a bit strong-willed. But I admired her for that. Even in a male-dominated environment, she always expressed her opinions firmly. To me, she shone brightly. Our relationship gradually deepened, and before I knew it, we started dating. We were off as sweethearts, and although people whispered behind our backs, "Don't worry about that. Just think of it as jealousy. We haven't done anything wrong, right?" She said that with a big smile, and she still seemed to sparkle somehow. Our relationship lasted for 2 years, and then I successfully proposed and we got married. Then, she brought up something. "I'm thinking of quitting my job." Eh? Are you planning to retire upon marriage? That's right. I don't think this job suits me anymore. I want to work part-time or maybe a casual job and take it easy at home. Honestly, we can manage with just your income, right? I want to quit. What do you think? That's fine. Don't worry about money. I'm on a career track and I think I can get promoted again next year. So, feel free to do what you want. Thanks. I will then. Daniel, you graduated from a great university and you're really good at your job. You're well regarded by your boss. If this continues, you might really climb the ladder quickly. That might be an exaggeration. But, on the inside, I thought so too. Work was fun, and I was genuinely happy when sales increased. There's a saying about finding one's true calling, and I truly believe that my job is just that for me. And so, she quit her job. I was proud of her as everyone celebrated her departure from the company. Half a year later, I was offered a transfer. The new location was at the headquarters, still in New York. When I told her, she exclaimed, "You're finally working at the headquarters. That means you're definitely on the fast track now. Keep earning more and more. Oh, by the way, our wedding anniversary is next month. How about we go on a trip abroad?" I can't just take leave next month. How about 3 months from now? For our anniversary, let's go to a fancy restaurant instead. Ah. If you can't do next month, I'm going to go on a trip abroad with my friends. What? I want to go soon. I can't wait 3 months. I'll buy you lots of souvenirs. Wait a minute. Weren't we supposed to go out together for our anniversary? Why are you planning to go with your friends? I just thought it would be nice if we could go together on our anniversary. If you can't make it, I'll just go on a trip abroad with my friends. You know. I don't want to say this, but haven't you been a bit reckless with money lately? Huh? It's not like I have spent all our savings, and you're making a decent amount each month, aren't you? Be a little more generous. What happened to working part-time or doing a casual job? You quit the part-time job, and now you're not working at all, right? It's just my salary. So, I'd really prefer you not to waste money. Don't you know what marital assets means? We're married, you know? Your money is mine too. I haven't spent a fortune. And you're making enough each month. Give me a break. If it were for things we both could use, I wouldn't mind so much. But it's all about your brand name bags, clothes, and accessories. And your trips are always with your family or friends, Brenda. If you're going to spend money, I wish it included activities that we could both enjoy together. You are busy with work right now. I'm trying not to get in your way. Plus, you tell me to get a job. But do you understand how tough it is to work part-time or casual jobs? It's not like being a full-time employee, you're treated like a pawn. It's really uncomfortable and stressful. But I want to save for our future too, maybe for when we have kids. Kids? I don't really think about having kids. Is that so? Before we got married, you talked about wanting 2 kids, so I just assumed. People change their minds. I've given it a lot of thought, and if we had kids, it would just mean more unnecessary expenses. I think it's better if we don't have kids and spend the money on ourselves instead. Anyway, just keep that in mind that I'll be going on that trip abroad with my friends next month. After quitting her job, she seemed to lose the sparkle I had once seen in her. No. Actually, it might have been that she only seemed to sparkle because that's what I wanted to believe. I thought I liked her straightforwardness and openness, but now, even that aspect of her personality was beginning to annoy me. Spending money freely and not working. When it comes to household chores, those are neglected as well. If money must be spent, I'd at least like it to be on outings or shopping trips we could enjoy together. But she goes on shopping sprees by herself, travels with friends, and squanders money. I was growing tired of her behavior. I pretended not to notice these feelings and started my new job at the headquarters. I've been transferred here as of today. My name is Daniel. Pleased to meet you all. I'm your supervisor and mentor, Susan. Feel free to ask me if you have any questions. Thank you. I'm looking forward to working with you. Working at the headquarters, I was even more devoted to my job than before. Boosting sales was enjoyable, and I learned a lot from my colleagues and bosses. Going to work became the highlight of my day, and returning home felt increasingly dreary. The reason was my wife, Brenda. Back from drinking again? It's almost midnight. Any complaints? It doesn't matter if I come home early or late, you're never around anyway. You're married to your job, aren't you? So I just went out for drinks with friends. Got a problem with that? It's not about complaining, but if you keep drinking late into the night so often, it's genuinely worrying. Maybe you should set a limit on how often you go out each week? What? Is this about money again? I'm not talking about money. You're just upset because if I go out drinking, it drains your savings, right? Despite earning a lot, you're so petty. I'm really just worried about you. If you're so worried, why don't you come home earlier? Have you ever thought about how I feel, being alone at home? But you always tell me not to come home early, instead, to work more for promotions, to earn overtime pay. That's why I'm always working late. I want you to earn more money. What you're saying makes no sense. I'm tired now. Let's talk about this some other time. Hey, wait. She had started going out to drink frequently at night. She wasn't like that before. Worried, I tried to come home earlier, but she pushed me to work overtime, to work harder for promotions, and discouraged me from coming home early. I was at a loss, unsure how to deal with her who changed so much. But, by seriously discussing these issues daily, she gradually stopped going out at night. I thought this would bring her back to the way she used to be. That's what I believed. Until that came up. After a year and a half of working at the headquarters, Susan called me. Did you call for me? There's something I need to discuss. Could you come to the conference room with me? Yes, sure. I'd like to hear your opinion. Yes? What about? What would you do if you were transferred again? Actually, I couldn't believe what followed those words. This decision would be significant for me. As I quietly listened to her, I finally spoke up. Well, Then, I went home to discuss it with my wife. Could you sit down? I have something important to discuss. What? Just sit down, please. Ugh. Fine, I'm sitting. What is it? Actually, there's a possibility of another transfer. Another transfer? Wait a minute, you've only been at the headquarters for just over a year, right? And another transfer now? Yes, but this transfer is significant. But you're currently working at the headquarters, right? A transfer from there means you're off the career track. No. That's not it. Calm down and listen. Until now, our company has only had offices in major cities like New York, Los Angeles, and Boston. They've decided to expand into new locations for business growth. Where to? It must be a decent-sized place, right? How far from New York? It's going to be about 620 miles away. What? Wait a minute. A transfer to such a place is unimaginable. You mean off the career track and into the boonies? It's not exactly a countryside, but compared to New York, well, it's not exactly urban. Do you have a rough idea of the place? Show me. I pointed to the general location on my smartphone's map app. What is this place? It's too rural, it's not even funny. Too rural? I don't think it's that bad. Sure, compared to New York, there might not be as many convenience stores or supermarkets. But the countryside has its charms. I was born and raised in New York, you know? You plan to take me to such a remote place. Calling it remote is definitely an exaggeration. Do you even understand why we got married? What are you talking about? I married you because I thought you were on a career track to success in a major company. A secure future, right? That's why I married you. So you didn't marry me because you love me? That makes it sound like you were only after my money. It's not like that, it is that. Given my age, I thought it was about time to get married, and if I was going to marry, I wanted someone younger and on a career track. You weren't bad looking and I believed in a secure future with you, but this is unbelievable. That's my line. When you got the job at headquarters, I was truly happy. I thought my judgment was right. But I don't know what you've done to be sent to the sticks. It's not a demotion. I've been entrusted with an important role in the business expansion. It's not about me making any mistakes. No excuses. I don't need a husband who's been demoted to the sticks. I want a divorce. So be it. Understood. Oh. You're surprisingly reasonable. I had a feeling this conversation might end up this way. Then I brought up another topic. You've been having an affair, haven't you? What? What are you talking about? The way you've been going out at night and frequently traveling raised my suspicions. I had a detective agency look into it. And there are plenty of photos and videos as evidence. It's fine if you want a divorce, but you'll have to pay alimony. What? Was that your last trump card? You thought mentioning alimony would stop me from divorcing you? Too bad. I can pay the alimony. Consider it payoff money. I have all those unnecessary brand items bought with your money, and my boyfriend works for a major company. He can pay the alimony in one lump sum. I see. Just make sure it's paid properly then. How easily humans can change left me more astonished than angry. Apparently, her affair partner worked for a major company and seemed financially secure. She was unapologetic about her affair, flippantly called it payoff money. That marked the end of our marriage. But I had no regrets. Continuing life with a woman who was reckless with money and unfaithful was out of the question. That was an obvious decision. And so, I readily agreed to the transfer. Really? You'll take the offer? Thank you. We'll start making formal arrangements. Oh, I forgot to mention. I'll be going with you to train you thoroughly. Really? I was worried about moving to a place with strangers. It's reassuring to know you'll be there. Top in sales and still worried? Did you manage to talk things through with your wife? We'll handle the housing arrangements. So if you have any specific requests. Actually, about that. I'm getting divorced. I haven't told anyone at the company yet, and I'd appreciate it if you could keep it a secret for now. So, a family-sized home isn't necessary, a singles type will do. Oh, I didn't know. I'm sorry for prying. No need to apologize. I was planning to tell you eventually. I hope this transfer isn't the cause, is it? She looked concerned as she peered at me. I wondered why she seemed so worried. The transfer isn't entirely unrelated, but there were various issues before that. I'm sorry. I never imagined it would lead to this. Why are you apologizing, Susan? When I received this assignment, I recommended you because I believed you would excel in a new environment. But I knew you were married and had a family, so I wanted to discuss it with you first. Thank you for your concern. But really, don't worry. The transfer is hardly related at all. Is that so? Then I'll take your word for it. I have high expectations for you as a subordinate. Yes. Afterward, I busied myself with the preparations for the move and the divorce proceedings. My wife moved out quickly and apparently started living with her affair partner. And the affair partner had paid the alimony in one lump sum. He really must be doing financially well. The smirking smile of Brenda flickered through my mind, and I shook my head. There's no point dwelling on it. I don't regret the divorce, and this was for the best. I moved and threw myself into my new job. The work there was challenging. Unlike before, where a foundation was already set, here I was part of building it from the ground up. It was fun and fulfilling, though often tough. Are you done with work? Want to go for a drink afterward? Yes. I was actually thinking of having a drink today. I'm pretty tired. Recently, Susan and I occasionally went for drinks after work. In a land where I had no family or friends, it was genuinely nice to have someone to drink with. Good job today. Thank you. You really work hard, don't you? People around here are surprised. They say working with you is motivating. Really? I didn't know anyone felt that way around me. Maybe they're too shy to say it? Everyone says seeing you work hard makes them feel like they can't lose. That they have to push themselves harder too. You have a knack for sales, but you also have a charisma that draws people in. Is that so? I'm a bit embarrassed to hear that. Susan, a work-oriented person, rarely gave direct compliments. Seeing her gentle smile, I felt my heart race. Maybe I've loosened up a bit from the drink? I thought being strict with you would make you grow, so I didn't compliment you much. But I do recognize your abilities. I wouldn't have brought you here otherwise. But I'm sorry if it caused trouble for your family. I've been meaning to tell you, but when I brought up the transfer, she said she couldn't come with me to such a place. I kind of expected it. So the divorce was because of this transfer? That's my fault, then. There were issues before that, like reckless spending and her not coming home until late at night. When I investigated, I found out about the affair. She probably didn't want to leave her affair partner. She even said I was being demoted. And claimed she married me for money. I'm actually grateful. If I had stayed at the headquarters, I would never have realized. That's such a shame. A kind person like you isn't easy to find. Really? She smiled at me. Her cheeks have turned pink from the drink. Embarrassed, I took a sip of my drink. From then on, working hard while occasionally drinking with Susan became a joy in my daily life. And before I knew it, 3 years had passed. That day, I had the day off and was at a high-end restaurant. Arriving a bit early, I took my seat and waited for someone. Just then, it happened. A familiar voice called out my name. Is that you, Daniel? See? I knew it was you. Have you come back to New York? Yeah, I have, I replied. Standing there was my ex-wife, Brenda, and beside her, the man I had only seen in photos and videos, her affair partner. Oh, what? Are you staring because of this? The wedding ring. We managed to get married. While you were working so diligently in the countryside. We tied the knot. That's good for you, I responded. Don't you have anything else to say? How does it feel? Abandoned by me, living a miserable life with nothing but your work? Are you even okay coming to such an expensive place? You don't have money, do you? After all, you were demoted and sent to the countryside. I keep telling you, I wasn't demoted. There's no need to lie. You always had too much pride. Brenda's husband smirked beside her. What a vulgar laugh. I thought to myself. Just then, The person I was waiting for arrived at the table. Sorry to keep you waiting. Who are these people? Hey, you can date even though you're a poor man? I don't know who you are, but you should probably break up with him. This man was demoted off the fast track and relegated to do menial work in the countryside. You'd be better off leaving him right now. Cut it out, I interjected. With all due respect, breaking up isn't so simple. Because, you see, we are married. We have no intention of divorcing, and frankly, it's none of your business, right? At those words, Brenda's eyes widened in shock. She had proudly shown off her wedding ring, yet she had failed to notice the ring on my left hand. Yes. In the 3 years since we parted, a lot had changed for me. I had married Susa N. And I had returned to New York. I put my arm around Susan's shoulder and greeted them cheerfully. This is my wife. Any problem with that? I never thought you'd remarry. It must have been tough finding a woman in the countryside. You keep looking down on the countryside, but what's so great about the city? Whatever. You wouldn't understand anyway. Besides, my husband is much wealthier. Right? Pleased to meet you. I'm Tyler, married to Brenda. I don't know what you did, but being dumped by your wife and sent to the countryside must have been tough. I couldn't have endured it. People who cheat aren't worth staying married to, I retorted. Hey, why don't you tell them where you work? They'd be shocked. Daniel's company might be big, but after all, he was sent to the countryside. I bet the salary is not that big. I'd rather not boast, it seems pitiful. But if I must, I work at Company XX. Oh? That company? Susan and I exchanged glances. Misinterpreting our surprise, the two of them laughed joyfully. Susan, who knew about my ex-wife, looked utterly baffled. It felt like her eyes were asking, why did you ever marry someone like that? I awkwardly avoided her gaze. Are you okay working there? Huh? What do you mean? Surprised because it's such a large company? I probably earn 3 times your salary. Please, stop with the sour grapes. Just because your husband can't earn much doesn't mean you should be envious. I'm not saying this out of jealousy. But aren't your company's performances declining? It's well known in our industry. Your turnover rate is skyrocketing, isn't it? I understand how you feel, though. What? You're making stuff up. There's no way your performance is declining, right? Right? Tyler's eyes widened in response to our words. His face expression seemed to ask, how do you know that? Brenda appeared uninformed and flustered. It was well known among us that XX Company, despite being a major corporation, had been gradually declining in performance. Amidst this downturn, an executive scandal came to light. Apparently, there was embezzlement by a senior executive. This caused the company's performance to drop further, and worried employees began leaving one after another. Yet, despite these issues, he boasted proudly. Likely assuming all was well simply because it was a major company, a typical attitude of someone who's just a regular employee. If I were in his position, I'd be worried enough to consider leaving the company. Moreover, in such a state, it would be difficult to brag about the company. Sure, it's a major corporation, but isn't it in quite a challenging situation right now? It's fine. It's a major corporation, it won't go under. Sure, our performance has dipped, but it will bounce back soon. Being a major corporation doesn't mean it can't fail, right? There are numerous precedents. Even if it doesn't go bankrupt, it could end up being absorbed or merged. What? Really? You said there were no problems and that work was going smoothly. Just relax. There's nothing for you to worry about. I've got it under control. Under control? Maybe the reason we can't go on trips lately and you haven't given me any money is because of this. You haven't shown me the bank account either. We're saving properly, right? It's fine. Even if we spend all our money each month, there's the bonus, and we'll start saving properly from now on. Wait, you mean you've been spending all our money each month? What have you been spending on when you earn that much? It's because you keep buying things. Most of my money goes to paying off the credit card bills you rack up. I can't believe this. You told me we had plenty of money and that I could spend it. Were you lying? In the middle of their escalating argument, Susan and I sighed quietly. Could you please go outside if you argue? It's really unpleasant to listen to. We came here to enjoy our meal, not to hear this kind of talk. Are you sure you can even afford to pay for this place? Hey, are you sure? My parents are helping out a bit with some money, so it's fine. Are they sending you money? Look, just keep it between yourselves. You're bothering other people here, and it's not fun to dine like that. Plus, if money's tight, maybe you shouldn't be spending it here? Hearing this, Tyler looked down, embarrassed. Brenda bit her lip, glaring at me. Tyler was younger than me and had a somewhat flashy appearance. I don't mean to judge people by their appearances, but he didn't seem like the type who plans and saves money. Such a man, married to Brenda, who was reckless with money. How their money was being managed. It was clear even without asking. Perhaps embarrassed, the two of them quietly left the restaurant soon after. Who would have thought we'd bump into them here? You had a knack for business, but maybe not so much in choosing partners, huh? Susan pouted a bit as she spoke. Since we started dating, I realized she could get quite jealous. Her pouting was endearing, making me smile. Although she seemed a bit upset at my smile, she couldn't help but smile too. 1 month later, I received this phone call. Hey, do you want to go out for a meal sometime? I have something I want to discuss with you. What? What's going on? We're both married now. Why do we need to meet just the two of us? I want to apologize for some things and I need your advice on something. Advice? Let me guess, you want to borrow money? Well, your husband's company is in trouble, right? I figured that out as soon as you contacted me. Yes, that's right. His company is really in a bad state, and he might have to quit soon. So, could you give back the alimony he paid? Give me a break. That's not up for discussion. Of course, I understand your feelings. But I'm not asking for it to be returned to him. I'm thinking about divorcing him. And I was wondering if we could get back together? Please. I realized after seeing you again that I really loved you. I took advantage of your kindness, and I did terrible things. I want another chance. Please. I have absolutely no feelings left for you. I cannot love you anymore, and I certainly won't betray Susan. But you answered my call. Doesn't that mean you still like me? What are you talking about? I had deleted your contact, so I didn't recognize the number. I was naive. I'll make sure to block you now. Wait a minute. At that moment, Susan snatched the phone from my hand. I hadn't noticed her listening in, but before I knew it, she had come up behind me. Could you please stop bothering my husband? He's too good for someone like you, who only sees money. If you cause him any distress, I will confront you fully. What are you talking about? If you harass or stalk him, I will consult my brother. He's a lawyer, so he can help us if needed. Oh, I'm sorry. I won't contact him anymore. I appreciate that. I have no intention of giving him up, and I certainly won't hand him over to someone who can't appreciate his worth. Please never appear before him again. Yes. I'm sorry. The call was then quietly ended. I immediately set the number to be blocked on my phone. Susan is usually gentle, but she gets strong when she switches to work mode. This time, she was like in her work mode. I'm sorry for acting impulsively. But I've heard about your ex-wife from you, and I couldn't hold back. Thinking about how she made you suffer. I'm really happy you got angry for me. I truly love that about you. Oh, what are you saying? She had angrily defended me. And she was blushing and embarrassed upon hearing straightforward words of affection. Every aspect of her was dear to me, and I strongly felt that I wanted to live the rest of my life with her. Brenda apparently hasn't divorced Tyler. However, he had to quit his job, and their spending habits hadn't changed. The two of them were now drowning in debt and apparently worked from morning till evening. Their jobs hold no fulfillment. Just working to earn money. For them, it must certainly be a humiliation. I cherish the happiness I have now and am determined to continue walking a wonderful life with Susan.